This movie was just alright. Um, it's a horror movie about slugs, so I thought it'd be grosser than, I thought it was gonna be gross. I'd seen slugs in kids' movies before, and they were always depicted as gross, and obviously slugs are a bit gross. Um, but, it wasn't gross. Like, I had put this movie off for years because I always just thought slugs were gross. Um, And honestly, coming out of it, I didn't think slugs were that gross. Uh, Slugs weren't a very scary thing in this movie either, to me anyway. Like, I didn't think there was much high stakes. Like, yeah, they could eat people, but they never came off as a threat to me. Uh, and I don't get how they killed all the slugs because some of them were already in houses. So what about them? Because he blew up the ones in the sewers, right? But what about ones that are already in houses? You didn't do anything about those. Like, there's slugs in his basement. The characters just kind of blend together to me. Like, they're all just so generic, and I couldn't tell who was who at times. Other times I could. Um, the kills in this movie are really good. It's dubbed though at times with some of the actors because they were speaking a different language, and the dub isn't the greatest, just like Suspiria. But Suspiria, the dub was way better. In this movie, which came out 11 years later, I'm pretty sure, if not more, the dub was worse somehow. Um, this movie, just there isn't that much to talk about. None of the characters are very good. Some of the stuff seems a bit mean spirited. Like, there's this girl, where her boyfriend's trying to convince her to have sex with him. She's not ready, and she says she doesn't like him like that. So, I mean, she could either just be trying to not have sex with him, which she doesn't have to have an excuse. She can literally just say no. But she could also just be asexual because, I mean, the way she words it, she's like, I don't like you like that, like to let him get in her pants. So either like maybe she doesn't find him sexually appealing, or maybe she's straight up asexual, which I doubt is what the movie was going for. Um, he gets pissed and runs off, and then immediately after that, a character that we had actually got shown in two scenes before, like surprisingly enough, becomes kinda of a villain. Um, well, he's definitely a villain, but he doesn't really do anything after this scene. But we see him in one scene. He's being a bit of a dickhead, but that's not uncommon in horror movies. He's in a cafe scene, and he's being a bit of a dickhead, and it looks like a group of friends, and some of the friends don't exactly get along. And then we don't see him for the rest of the movie until we see him very briefly talking to somebody, and then he just kind of fucks off. And then we see a scene of him putting a mask on, and it looks like he's maybe going to scare the couple when they're out in the middle of nowhere, but she rejects the boyfriend and doesn't want to have sex with him, which I had just talked about. Um, so I figured that he was just going to like try and scare them or something, typical dumb horror movie shit to pad the runtime. But no, soon as the guy is gone, he tries to sexually assault her. And this is a character that we've established before somewhat, which is very strange to me. Like, obviously, established characters can be rapists, but the way he was put in this movie, it just seemed like he was just going to be a friend character, kinda. Like, just a dickhead, maybe a kill. But he doesn't even die in this movie either. Um, she's able to escape the sexual assault. She doesn't even really hurt him. She kind of like pushes him off, and then she falls into a sewer and gets eaten by slugs off screen. And he walks away unscathed. Um, One of her friends feels bad that her that she got told to like fuck off or whatever because she didn't want to have sex with the guy, and he tries to go and find her, but it's only one guy. Like three of her friends just don't give a fuck about her, which is so sad. And tries to go and find her and he doesn't. And then that's the last we see of him too. We don't see him die or anything. He just calls her name a little bit and then it just kind of ends anticlimactically. They go and try and stop the slugs, and like I said, they like blow them up in the sewers. But as we had seen in the movie, some of the slugs were already in this guy's basement, and we had seen that they had gotten into this guy's workplace. They had come in through his toilet, and we'd seen stuff come in from the sink, and we've seen them come in from all these places. Who they were also in a scene where they killed this guy and his wife while they were in a greenhouse. So it's very surprising that the movie frames it as if him blowing up slugs in the sewers solves the problem. Because there was a lot of them in his basement, and there was a lot of them in another kill in the movie. There's these two people about to have, well, they do have sex on a bed, and when he gets off, he gets bit by a slug, and the girl ends up like falling on the bed and getting eaten alive by the slugs. And there's just slugs all over the floor. Sure, they may scurry away, go back to the sewer or something, but who's to say they don't, go back to that place or any of that? It just feels like an inconclusive ending. Like I said, the best thing about this movie is probably the kills. And that's it. I'm surprised this movie never got a sequel because there's a lot of movies that get unnecessary sequels. But if it had got one, I probably wouldn't have watched it. I'm just honestly surprised it didn't get one though.